Hey, everybody. Welcome to Peaches and Power Bombs. I am your host, Majestic Marie, and I have a really cool guest. The dynamic duo, the podcast besties are back together again. How is it going, CM Walsh?
It's good to be back. You know, we were talking about a UK show when you have your UK correspondent right on back on a podcast. We couldn't make it
Always.
work for a preview show last week, but we're here to talk all about Clash of the Castle. And my word, what a weekend I got to witness live and in living color.
Bittersweet. Bittersweet. A little bit.
No, you haven't seen Raw, as we were just saying just off air.
No, I
There's a
have
whole
not
further
seen Raw.
context that you'll soon discover when once you've seen that. You'll message me once you've watched that. Your mind will be blown. But I want to save all the reviews and compartmentalize it until we talk through match by match.
Okay.
But you know, overall, there was only one or two surprises. I think that's what a lot of people came away from the show realizing, is that actually, yeah, it kind of went to plan. That ending, we all saw coming.
Yeah.
Frankly, it just wasn't the way we all expected it to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all have been kind of messed over twice in that department.
They're calling it the Glasgow Drew job for a reason.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
How to annoy 10,000 Scottish wrestling fans in an instant. That's what you do.
I'm just saying, CM Punk probably had to hide after that. There's no way he could show his face on the streets that night. So.
And yeah, he did it with style. He did it with style. I mean, even the whole post-show press conference where he was wearing the Celtic shirt, of course, to being the rival team to Drew's Rangers, which is a whole other level of rivalry in all of soccer in Scotland.
Yep.
Yeah, you could compare it to putting a red rag to a bull. You are calling for trouble in at least 50% of Glasgow by wearing one of those two shirts. And he sure went, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, that's like wearing a New York Yankees jersey in Boston, that type of thing. So I get it. When he wants to rub salt in the wound, he does it with style every time. So CM Punk, there to you, buddy.
And he brought donuts. He brought donuts, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, instead of muffins this time, it was donuts. All right, who do we have here? Our good friend Christine is here, and she says hello. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
I mean, I guess before we start, should we sort of give a quick rundown of the Friday and I guess the Saturday? The media scrum over in the SEC right next door for a free event. I just about got lucky to get in.
Oh man!
Oh my god! That it just set the tone for the whole weekend. You know, having everyone 3,000 people cram into the SEC, just for that moment, and to see Triple H and see also the build up. From then on, just it stayed there. It went up and it stayed there. Friday night SmackDown, yeah, mediocre episode of SmackDown, nothing to write home about. Certainly a good, a cracking dark show match between Drew and Sheamus.
Which I bet that was fun.
A bit longer than it did. Drew obviously then appearing in ICW on the one night that I didn't get tickets for. Not bitter at all. We'll move past that, and then going into the Saturday, the spirit within the city, and me and Harry Short from AFW, we walked around the city for a day, and the way people were talking about it, just coming up and having general conversation. Will Punk screw him? What will happen? What will happen? Just it was uncanny. It was uncanny because, frankly, this was the moment. This was Drew's moment. Cardiff was Cardiff, and we were there.
Yes.
It wasn't his hometown. It wasn't in his home environment. He didn't have his home fans around. He had the British fans, not the Scottish fans, to roar him on. Yeah, the minute I walked into the Hydro on the Saturday night, this was it. This was it.
I know. It like in Cardiff, you could have argued more that it was against Roman. It wasn't quite time for Roman to lose, and you could have that argument. There was more of an argument for Drew here.
Well,
It
I think let's not kid ourselves here, Marie. When we got to Cardiff, Drew was the bulldog. Drew was the British hero that we all thought could plausibly happen. It was 30 years since SummerSlam. It was the first stadium show since SummerSlam '92. It was the moment where very plausibly, forget the storyline, that it could have genuinely pulled it off and been a massive pop in front of 60,000 at the Principality. And then Solo Sikoa showed up, and then Tyson Fury showed up. And then we ended up singing Oasis, which even Drew McIntyre mocks all weekend that he should have sung that song in the end. It left a tiny bit of him up, but we all went home happy. But yeah, it was, obviously there's ongoing rumor and talk about what will happen in the future. Certainly that London are hot favourites for either a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania to come, especially if London Mayor Sadiq Khan can afford it, and certainly put some money in Nick Khan's pocket. But yeah, the atmosphere between the first clash in Cardiff and what we saw in Glasgow, yes, it was a small arena. Yes, it was in a different city. But that atmosphere was 100 times more electric walking in there.
Yeah.
As shown by the 104, 115 decibels of all the chanting we did all night. Which, take that, Paris! Take that, France! We're Scotland! Here we fucking go! Here we fucking go!
Very spirited for sure. Y'all put us to shame because we're the crowds around here are so saturated with it that they have become almost and to me, I didn't start going to really big arena shows until I was like 25ish, so it still feels special to me even though I get to go at least once a year. But I get excited like it's my first time every single time. But most people, I guess, don't feel that way, or they don't follow it as close as I do. I don't know, but I always get upset with the people around me.
Turns out, "Daddy Cool" by Boney M. That's the song you guys need to sing to. Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, and on and on and on.
It was amazing. It was awesome.
It never got tired.
Yeah, y'all were amazing. I'm gonna read a few of his comments, and then we're going. I'll plug stuff, and then we'll get right into it. Christine says, "I'm sick of Punk screaming McIntyre. It's really old. McIntyre quit on Raw last night." I read that, but I have, like I said, I haven't seen Monday Night Raw yet, you guys. So I'm like, I don't know.
La 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 la.
And he I did see that he did deactivate his social media. So, the ultimate internet troll got ultimately trolled, and now he's deactivated his account. So, Oh, we have some bitterness in the chat. So you're not the only one, Walsh. I am so sick and tired of that washed up CM Punk interfering into matches to try to keep his name relevant. Drew McIntyre deserves to be.
Save it for later.
Oh my goodness, it's hilarious. I love this.
The judge, jury, and executioner will all be out when we start talking about the main event. I can guarantee you that for free.
Yeah. Well, everybody, make sure you do the things. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about Peaches and Power Bombs. Thanks to you guys, though, we have had such a huge bump in followers. I think we've had almost 150 new followers in just 1 week. So thank you guys for that, for your support, and keep telling your friends about us because, the more you tell your friends, the bigger we get, and the bigger we get, the more better interviews we can book. So Just keep that in mind. So thank you so much for your support. All right, let's get into this show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Briscoe brothers are going to get us hyped up.
Ain't no way, chick. Ain't ready. There ain't no way, man. Ain't ready. Ain't no way y'all could possibly be ready. You can say you're ready as many times as you want. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Y'all boys ain't ready. There's no way, man. Talking about they anxious. You hear him, chick? Hey, somebody losing sleep.
They losing sleep, baby. Man, I've been getting the best sleep of my life.
I've been snoring, baby.
Snoring,
I've been snoring.
dreaming about this ass.
That's been our hype video for a year and a half, and I have not had the heart to change it yet. So, well, y'all started off with quite a bang here with my Georgia boys, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match for the WWE Undisputed World Title, and this was quite a way to start the night. I'm pretty sure you were excited to see this. They brought everything to the table, and the table.
They did, and the handcuffs and the chains and all the rest of it in between.
Yes.
A few things. Unpopular opinion number one: I don't like his new theme.
AJ's.
I do not like AJ Styles.
I don't like his new theme either.
There was nothing wrong with his old one.
No.
And anyway, that's by the by, Death Rebel and all that. WWE I Quit matches. I know this was, I think, one of the first in the new Triple H era.
Mm-hmm.
Trademark. But there's an element towards it where you think there'd be a lot more development in when they start asking them, do they quit? When they get the microphone out. Every 3 or 4 minutes of offense, and they knocks down the opponent. AJ, do you quit? No, you're not just going to turn around after 3 minutes and quit. Especially when there's been no weapons and no spots at all.
Just because I'm laying here holding my side doesn't mean I quit.
Yeah. So that was all that. Mama Rhodes being in the front row, getting involved. And yeah, it built nicely. I mean, there was layer upon layer. Obviously, AJ passing out Cody, thinking he'd had the match won, a la to Steve Austin against Bret Hart. But yeah, it just built up and up. Getting the handcuffs out, Cody being handcuffed, then crawling over, getting the key, getting it up, then chaining AJ to the ropes and putting him to one side. That was a great spot. Finish, like every WWE I Quit match, threatens you're gonna do something bit, they quit, they still do it anyway.
I know. I was a little shocked that he did it anyway, just a little bit. I was like, "Oh, Cody, you get nasty," but I guess AJ got nasty with him first. So,
and it's, I don't know whether what you expect in 2024, but certainly you want them to be in a pulp that there is no other ounce of adrenaline in their body to make them quit and give up.
The adrenaline is not in the soul.
Yeah. Every thought outside of control. Do it all again to all the feet. But yeah, it just seemed anticlimactic to just go, oh, I quit. Oh, I'm going to hit you anyway. Bang.
Yeah. I mean, it was a classic heel finish. I mean, because, I guess AJ, but he's not a weasel heel though. So that's weird.
Well, I think by all accounts, he appears to be moving on, because after the match, he obviously then goes up to the ramp, and Solo Sikoa was there waiting for him. Which I think gets the bloodline away a little bit from what they were doing at the moment with obviously KO, which then brought out Tama Tonga and Tangaloa to beat him up, which then brought out KO and Randy Orton.
Yes.
Possibly setting up a 6-man tag going forward, maybe for Money in the Bank, which I think wouldn't be the worst match to do.
No, because that could set up Randy versus Cody eventually. So I want to see that.
I mean, agreed. I mean, going back to SmackDown, certainly the KO very nearly put Paul Heyman through a table, which was a major disappointment. certainly could have spawned something to certainly poke Roman to think about coming back. But yeah, I'm still not fully sold on this new bloodline. Yes, you got Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. You've got the Gorillas of Destiny, one of the best New Japan teams you'll ever see if you go back and watch their matches. But they're taking their time.
Yeah.
With Roman, the tribal chief, the undisputed champion, you had your model there.
Yeah.
And then you had the Usos and you had the layers underneath. With this, because they are starting from scratch, they are building up Solo.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? They're just not gathering too much space. I don't know whether putting him immediately with Cody at this point is the right move. Certainly, we're still expecting Jacob Fatu to get involved at some point. I just, it needs a bit more oomph. And
I understand that, and I've been wondering too if Jacob Fatu is either going to be on Solo's side or is he going to be on Roman's side? Because I have a feeling if he was on Solo's side, he would overshadow him. But if he's with Roman, it would be equally balanced.
Or will he be with Jay? Is that your early seedlings to grant the plant for War Games in November? I mean,
maybe so. Maybe with Jay, and then eventually Jimmy will come back, and then Jimmy, and Jacob would join up with Roman for War Games.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening, and they've got plenty of time to build it up. But yeah, all in all, really good I Quit match. Got the crowd going. We were going to be loud from the minute one anyway. Certainly set the tone for the night.
Yeah, it was really great. And I always make the joke that they put the two Georgia boys in a main event together. Well, it wasn't the main event, it was the start show, but it was a main event match, basically. They always put them together.
We go on first.
Yeah. Hey, the first match is to get everybody excited, so that's a great place to be. Anyway, they always put them together in a match overseas, but not in their home state.
They'll book Triple H will have the balls one day to book the Georgia Dome. You know he will.
The Georgia Dome was torn down, but yeah.
Am I massively out of date with that reference?
That's okay. Hey, in its place, they built the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is big enough to hold a WrestleMania. So, just saying.
When did it get knocked down? I feel like I'm miles off with that reference there.
That's okay.
Keep talking. Go on to the next match because
okay.
It's at the same level of care that showed into this one.
We have one more. Cody Rhodes' tenure as champion is lackluster at best. I like Cody, but there is something missing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I compared it to rewind the clock 5 years. When Seth, Kofi, and Becky all won the main event of WrestleMania 35, there was that element after WrestleMania, especially under the Vince era, when they were like, okay, so what's next? And Kofi was just, he got involved with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and he never really got into something. Seth Rollins then tagged with Becky Lynch as they started dating, and then they ended up with Constable Corbin, who, but by the way, Constable Corbin, Baron Corbin getting a pop on SmackDown. I mean,
good for him. Good for him, because he works so hard. They always give him something garbage to work with, and he always does his best to get it over.
At least it's not dog food. At least it's not dog food.
Yes.
But yeah, seeing Baron Corbin back in the mix is certainly Baron Corbin is the modern generation's Miz. Yeah. What Miz was doing 20 years ago, this is now Baron Corbin. Let's see him win the IC title soon, because
something. Yeah, something. It's really hard to book not just a babyface title run, but a babyface title run after such a huge storyline like that. It's not easy. And I know they're dragging their feet and just waiting, kind of holding off for the eventually we're going to have the Randy Orton turn, and we're going to do the mentor versus teacher thing. And I'm excited about that. And I think both of those guys will do awesome with that. And it'll invest more people into what Cody is doing. But just in the meantime, it feels like we're just keeping Cody busy until we get to that point, and we don't.
Yeah. And I think obviously where Cody is in a John Cena position, which Roman obviously couldn't achieve as a heel.
No.
You can't bet against him. Certainly for the next year.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, bar, obviously we'll see good action and great fights for it, but
right.
I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, AJ, at least with this last one, they tried to make it a little bit more personal with AJ doing the Mark Henry and doing the fake retirement and making it feel a little bit more personal. That was a nice touch, and it brought more interest for me into the match, because at first I was like indifferent about it a little bit. And then when they did all that stuff, I was like, oh, okay, this will be fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. This is kind of what told me what was going to happen in the main event, to be honest, because they threw y'all a little carrot and hoped y'all bit. Okay, here's Scotland. I know you're looking for the steak, but you're only getting this little carrot instead. So here you go.
I went to the toilet during this match. The thing that one of the common themes throughout the weekend, aside if you take Drew out of the equation, was that all the other matches didn't have apart from, if you take the two title matches with Cody and Drew out of the equation, the filler didn't have substance.
The IC title match did.
Yeah. Okay, Sammy and Chad Gable had something, and without spoiling Raw, there is extra things there. But the two women's matches, they're in this match because they're from Scotland, and Shayna and Zoe Stark are also there. It just didn't stand out, and a lot of people talking around us. Shayna Baszler. Do you remember the old Shayna? Do you remember the Queen of Spades?
Yes.
Do you remember the same one that would strangle and kill them for fun?
Yes.
Who in the first Elimination Chamber of 2019, 2020, she just ragdolled them for fun. It just feels foreign. And
now a few years later, and a few 17,000 tag team partners later, here we are.
Yeah, and poor old Bianca. She did not have the greatest of nights at all.
No, Jade had a little bit of a slip up, but the overall match wasn't bad. It was just that little moment, and I think the more people that are in the match, the more confused she gets about where she's supposed to be. So they need to think about trying to reduce the amount of people involved in the match, and while she's learning how to incorporate all that stuff.
And I'm not sure if you guys picked it up, but there was two instances where there was visible tap outs.
Yes, that she was very confused. So
it's like
but
the guy sat next to me in the arena said if you told us 5 years ago, or even 3 or 4 years ago, that Jade Cargill and Mercedes Moné would literally swap places, and Moné would end up holding her belt and Jade would hold her belt, none of us would have believed you, would have laughed you out of the building. And now here we are, and Jade's so much better than that. Much better than that.
She's improving a whole lot. I mean, I know she had some mix-ups in this match, but she is improving. There was evidence of that.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Fire and Dawn winning was an unexpected part because nobody really invested in it, and it did set the seed for the rest of the night. But certainly, I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't have the spark, and it didn't get into the next gear that we were kind of hoping for.
Yeah. I think it was just like, here's a little present so somebody from your country wins, but it's not going to be the person that you're expecting. See, I was predicting that Drew was going to win the title off of Priest way back at the Royal Rumble. I was expecting Priest to cash in right there at WrestleMania, right after Drew beat Seth. And then I was like, well, Clash of the Castle is in Scotland, not just the UK. You know, that's a perfect time for him to win. And then, you know, if they wanted to go down that road, you know, they could have Drew versus CM Punk or somebody, you know, or whatever.
Let's try and save that for the main event, because that's I have a pre-prepared statement. All of that alone, trust me. Getting into this one then, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable for the IC title, and this one was intriguing.
It was really good, and I was surprised because I wasn't expecting that ending.
No, not at all. And they both put on a stellar match.
Yes.
And then there was the sub storyline of Otis and Maxine.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more out of Otis. I thought if he was going to stand up to Chad Gable, he would do it completely, and he still kind of was just, he did, but he didn't, and I was like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost getting time where you need to actually do something. So it was good, though. It was good.
It was a solid performance. I mean, Sammy put on a fantastic match against Kaiser on the dark match on SmackDown. Put on another great performance against Chad Gable. We're always going to just sing his song as loudly than anybody else in the world. But yeah, Sami Zayn showing what he's made of, and certainly put Alpha Academy under pressure. Which I think, you know, in the grander scheme of things, if you'd have said years ago that Gable and Otis would be splitting up, you wouldn't have believed it. You wouldn't have fathomed it, and yet here we are. The tension, the levels. You know, 4 years ago, Otis was the joke Money in the Bank winner. Now look what he's doing. You know?
Yeah. I mean, when he eventually does completely turn against Chad Gable, and I don't know, he might have on Monday Night Raw by now, and I don't know it, but when he does, it's gonna be a huge, it's gonna be a huge reaction, and I'm all excited to see it. Whether it's happened yet or not, I don't know, but I'm excited about it. Yeah. And Chad's boo-boo face was probably one of the best boo-boo faces I've ever seen.
And I think that's the thing, is that when you're at a live show and, you know, there's cameras and all that, you see him sat there holding the pose, just there. And the cinematography was perfect. Yeah.
Yep. It was great. I was at some point a couple weeks ago or so, I was saying that it would make it more intriguing if Maxine actually turned heel with Chad, like completely, and went on his side and became evil and diabolical with him.
I mean, any excuse to get Maxine Dupree and Chelsea Green to do a 60-minute Extreme Iron Man match is just for mine and Samantha Irvin's entertainment. I'm here for it.
You like car wrecks? You enjoy watching?
Have you watched WWE ECW? Of course I love car wrecks.
Oh my. Shane, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you here, my dear. I think Cody needs Brandy by his side as a manager. He doesn't need her.
He needs on.
He might need somebody, but
he needs the man with the Glock.
Yes.
He needs Arn Anderson back.
He was fun. I'm so glad that Sammy won. Go Canada. Interesting take here. Could you see Sammy reuniting with the original bloodline and possibly be in the War Games match?
If this was the Attitude Era or the certainly the Vince McMahon era, I'd see it. But I think where Sammy's sort of gone and done his own thing, I don't see him then doing a 180 and turning back around again. I just don't buy it. It would have to be some intervention by
Jey
Roman Reigns
Uso.
or something major to cause the turn again.
Well, it would be the original bloodline. It wouldn't be Solo's bloodline. So it would be a babyface original bloodline.
Even to bring them back in, especially when obviously KO is fighting the bloodline. I don't
Not
see
Roman's bloodline, Solo's.
No, that's true.
If Jey Uso is involved, I would say that would be the only way that Sammy would or could get involved.
Potentially.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have the WWE Women's Championship on the line. Bayley versus Piper Niven. The match itself was good. It didn't hold. This was my potty break, and it didn't mean for it to be. It's just that sometimes you just have to go.
The thing is with this one, and you could tell this 100% in the build-up, especially in the media event sort of highlighted this. Bayley on TV is the face, but in Glasgow was the tweener. Piper on TV is the heel, but in Glasgow she was the baby face.
Exactly.
And you had that conflicting era going on from Friday, Piper telling the story, getting a Tesco's chant going in the media scrum.
Well, most of the time, even though traditionally on camera, you might have a certain baby face and a certain heel. But when they go to a certain place, they know it's going to be changed. And usually they're smart enough to figure that out, and they're going to switch places. But it was confusing because they didn't switch places. And Bayley is very perfectly capable.
And we chanted for both. I mean, we still sang "Hey Bayley," albeit a bit quieter than we usually would have.
Yeah.
But we still sang for Piper Niven.
Yeah.
And it was. Don't get me wrong, very good in-ring match, very good dynamic. Chelsea Green.
I came back just in time to see her get kicked out. And then when she ran back with that luchador mask on, I about died. That
was Chelsea. I thought that was Chelsea Mysterio.
Chelsea Mysterio. I'm sorry.
The newest luchador to come to the WWE.
A mysterious La Luchadora made her debut at Clash of the Castle and decided to distract the referee at a certain time. That was hilarious.
It was.
And her screaming. Did you all hear her screaming, "I'm not Chelsea, I'm not Chelsea"?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Her character, she is such a genius, by the way, Chelsea Green. Her character only works if she loses and looks like an idiot.
That's true, but I think this was sort of felt certainly amongst the block that I was sat in. Where's Matt Cardona? Where is Matt Cardona? And I think certainly that there is an opportunity for him to appear in tonight's NXT Battle Royal, which is open to all locker rooms and could maybe. But to have him and Chelsea together, it would be great.
Wouldn't he kind of have to change what he's doing a little bit?
Not at all. I think there's none of. Yes, he's the king of indie wrestling, but I think in the same way that Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre and so many others have followed the same story arc of having to work their way back through the indies.
Oh, it's not that. It's not that. You mean together on camera or just together in the same company?
Oh, together on camera.
Okay, because she's kind of got a goofy character. So, would you change? I mean, he's a tongue in cheek.
I can't believe the next words are about to come out of my mouth. I would happily see Cardona and Green doing R-Truth and Carmella on WWE, and just be the daft couple. Have them do daft things every week.
I liked our Truth and Carmella together. I'm not gonna lie.
Because at our Truth and Carmella, we got Becky winning the 2019 Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a sliding doors moment.
That's true. Well, what of this match I saw, I enjoyed. I kind of knew it kind of felt like they just threw it together just because Piper Niven was from Scotland. But I think both girls tried to make the best out of the situation that they were put in. So I don't want to knock them too hard.
Yeah, and I think it certainly tells the story of Bayley facing a bigger opponent, which she may or may well end up doing come SummerSlam in August when she takes on Nia Jax. You know, obviously we'll see what happens come Money in the Bank, but it gets that used to you're facing a bigger opponent. This is what you do. This is the baby face that, you know, survival training. But yeah, I totally agree. On paper, shouldn't never have happened with the build and everything else, but they showed a good account of themselves, really. And I think Piper Niven, let's be honest, she was dewdrop 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To be in a match like this now, good on her.
Yeah. Well, everybody dreams of being able to perform on a huge stage in front of your family, your friends, and your country. So here we go. Right. Everybody settle in, get a nice little pillow. We're about to have a treat. All right. 1, 2, 3.
2!
2.
I'm still conflicted about this match. Throughout the weekend, obviously, the build-up from Monday Night Raw was that Judgment Day were banned from ringside.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no rumor of Punk at all. And we thought, okay, if Judgment Day aren't going to be there, CM Punk's going to be there. And we thought, okay, he's going to do something at some point. So that was by the by. Saturday morning, photos start emerging of Punk being in the city, being at the Celtic shop, purchasing Celtic items. We thought he wouldn't, would he? He wouldn't turn up in Glasgow at the Hydro wearing a Celtic shirt just to add that extra 50% of heat to an already molten hot crowd. Thank God that he didn't, but it certainly added a lot of intrigue. From the introductions alone, gutted we didn't get Broken Dreams. The one time you could have done Broken Dreams, you didn't give us Broken Dreams. We wanted Broken Dreams. We got a bagpipe band instead, which we'll take. And it certainly was a moment. But from then on, the energy in the room was electric. I think we reached 115 decibels cheering on Drew.
Mm-hmm.
We were ready for it. And we even when Damien was making his entrance, we would not let that slip. And from then on, it was a partisan crowd. Such a good in-ring match. You know, yes, there were botches. Damien Priest got his foot stuck, to which Drew, being the professional that he was, managed to get through it. Apparently, the ongoing storyline is that the top rope there's something wrong with it. They're saying it could be the tape, it could be how it was tightened from the get-go. There's evidence throughout the night, which obviously included a Jade's botch, which included, there was a spot where before the I Quit match that the referee and AJ Styles were communicating that the top rope wasn't quite right. Tune into Botchamania if you want to see the full review of that moment. Certainly, I wanted, and certainly Drew handled it well. Yeah. Damien Priest sold it well, thinking he twisted his leg. It turns out he was fine in the end. Mm-hmm. And then, straight to the finish. We had it won. He had it done. Ref bump, Claymore. The longest count you'll ever see. In runs a referee. Perfect cinematography to not reveal it. 1, 2, bam. The camera turns. And there's plenty of TikToks online of Scottish fans losing their minds. They couldn't believe it. And even when that happened, people go, okay, we knew this, but not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Damien Priest got for the choke slam. 1, 2, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And the air.
Yeah.
It was. I've never felt an event like it. And I think even after the ref bump and Punk, we thought, what if he kicks out? What if he kicks out? What if he actually does overcome this?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how WWE works. Now, a lot of people are talking about CM Punk. I being a very strong fan of CM Punk. It is vengeance. Obviously, the whole back and forth between Drew and Punk has been stellar, even when both of them have been injured.
Yep.
So we knew there was going to be some kind of shenanigans.
Yep.
Punk has since revealed he's close to getting cleared.
Yes.
So they're going to build the match.
Very close. Mm-hmm.
To do it in this way. And I don't think the match needs the title by any stretch. This is the way to do it. You don't put it in a Hell in a Cell, because that's one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard in a press conference. But this is how you get to the point. I won't spoil Raw too much for your sake, Marie. But I think with the actions of Drew McIntyre and Punk being on Friday SmackDown in Chicago, I think we now have a timeline, whether that be Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, where we will get the match. And it's so long as Drew doesn't break him again, like a Ming vase, it will probably be one of the matches of the year.
Yeah.
But I think the overriding story is that for me once, shame on you. For me twice, shame on me. Drew had this opportunity 2 years ago against Roman Reigns, fine. And he lost, fine. He's now lost again in the UK.
Yeah.
In Glasgow to Damian Priest. Are we really going to be talking about Drew McIntyre in 12 months' time, having a third opportunity? I really don't know. But I don't buy it. I don't see McIntyre getting another shot like this. And there's only so many times you can regurgitate the same story and the same narrative before it becomes stale.
I understand that, but I think that they could. I mean, there's time. I mean, when is the next time that they're coming over there anyway? Do we know yet? They haven't announced it yet.
Obviously, I've been obviously a live tour towards the end of the year. Obviously, there is speculation that SummerSlam next year will be at Wembley Stadium. Obviously, the ongoing speculation about WrestleMania, which I touched upon earlier, which I think there is obviously growing suspicion that if you're going to announce a SummerSlam 2 years in advance, you're saving something big for in between.
Right.
And I think whether that's at Wembley Stadium, whether it's at Dublin, whether it's at Manchester, Liverpool, Edinburgh even.
It's still not going to have the same impact because it wasn't in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your moment.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it. And I think, 6 months' time, I want to be sat here talking to you, Marie, and going, that was the best idea. We've got there in the end at a different aspect. But I just don't see it. But I think realistically speaking, look at Gunther. He's got his match at SummerSlam at the start of August, and by the end of it, he's got Bash in Berlin.
Yeah.
Do we really see Damian Priest beating him at SummerSlam? Do we really see him? No, I'm not sure where the direction of Gunther goes in Berlin, but would you have Gunther lose in Berlin? I wouldn't do that to him.
I don't know.
Certainly to not somebody as strong as him. But I do want to come back
but
to...
I would have said 6 months ago that there was no way that Drew was going to lose in Scotland either.
Just call up Shane's comment from earlier.
Yeah,
I'm sick and tired of those washed up CM Punk interfering into matches to try to keep his name relevant. CM Punk has this aurora about him that no matter where he goes in the world, within wrestling, he will always be relevant.
yes.
He'll always be the man for the cult of personality that he has built up over his career. Drew McIntyre deserves to be world champion. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's undoubtedly. But when you've got so many different plates to juggle,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been too soon to take it off Damian Priest anyway.
Yeah.
I think
that's another thing. I was really torn because on one hand, I wouldn't have been disappointed no matter what they did for me, but I'm not from Scotland, so there's that.
You wasn't there.
I
was
wasn't
not
there. I wasn't there. So, I mean, I love Damian Priest. He's one of my favorites.
Mm.
And I was really excited to see him get a world championship.
Mm.
And I don't want him to be labeled as a transitional champion. I wanted him to have a legit chance to have something meaningful, or at least, small. Okay. But I was ready to accept the fact that, that if they did have, if Drew did win, then that was fine too, because Drew has been someone that he has been proving himself time and time again that he's somebody to watch, that he can, rejuvenate whatever it is that he's doing and make, keep creating interest and everything like that. I didn't know he was that funny until all this stuff with CM Punk happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Drew McIntyre too. I've met him twice. He's a lovely person. I love him to death.
Mm.
And CM Punk, he was my favorite when I was 24. So there's personal, little connection there. So I love everybody in this situation. So it's like,
I think at the end of the day,
too bad everybody can't win is how I was feeling.
A little bit, but I think the next 2 weeks going into Money in the Bank will tell us a lot about where they see the rest of the year going.
Yeah.
Certainly, but by no means. I think obviously Drew McIntyre could elbow his way into a certain battle royal. He could elbow his way into certain interests. I'm not going to give much away. CM Punk could get into a qualifying match.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who's won it back-to-back years, way back when they used to do it at WrestleMania. And Damian Priest, whoever they put in front of him next, a lot of people are calling for Bron Breakker, which he appears to be a good shout. This is a pivotal moment for WWE, and I think this is such a highly fascinating time to be a fan.
I think it's a little too soon for Bron Breakker. There's other people that have been biting,
even as a filler, even as a filler for Money in the Bank.
Would you have
showcases his strength, showcases his talent.
Would you have him lose yet, though? It depends. If he got in that match and he lost by disqualification, I'd be okay with that.
Mm. Or you have him win and then you get us Gunther versus Breakker at SummerSlam.
I don't know. I don't know. That might kill Bron Breakker's momentum. It's too soon for that.
When has WWE been this interesting, this intriguing, with so many different plates spinning simultaneously, especially around the World Heavyweight Championship, which you forget has been up and running for 2 years.
I know, and everybody was saying, "Oh, this is a pity belt, a pity title for Seth to make him feel better about himself." That's what people were saying in the beginning. Yep.
Honestly, a better belt than the WWE title. With no offense to Cody Rhodes.
No.
You've got far more up for grabs with the world title at the moment.
At the moment, yeah, but I think Cody's moment and Cody's storyline is going to come. So we just have to be patient, and they need to make it feel like we don't have to be patient. That they keep giving us interesting things, but it feels right now like we're just waiting for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that was Clash of the Castle, and I have not seen Monday Night Raw yet, but I will do a live stream when I have, guys, and we'll talk all about what happened. I promise. So just give me a day or two. Your girls,
that's coming back tomorrow, depending on what happens with this battle royal. To be going.
Okay.
Did you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. I don't want to say too much. I think you'll watch Raw. You'll message me and be like, "Wow, wow."
I can't wait to see it.
Or you might watch it, you might be disappointed. Who knows? Who knows?
You never know. You never know. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Peaches and Power Bombs. And thank you, CM Walsh, for being such a lovely, lovely co-host for me tonight. And overall, did you enjoy yourself at least a little bit?
Overall, it was a great weekend. Every time WWE comes to UK, like you said at the top of the show, it's an atmosphere like none other. And we're lucky enough that WWE trust us to have it at least once a year in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It was, Glasgow is a fantastic city. I urge everyone to go check it out and go for the weekend and explore, because it's got so much culture and so much going for it that no other city like it could have it. Yes, they could have held the event in a football stadium and sold it out, but the atmosphere in the Hydro was perfect. It was amazing.
Well, there you have it, a first-hand witness there for Clash of the Castle, guys. You found it right here on Peaches and Power Bombs. So tell your friends about us. Walsh, do you have anything going on right now? Anything to plug?
Everyone's favorite freelance wrestling podcaster. I don't know what else to say anyway. It feels like a long time ago I was doing podcasts every week in the TRWC. Oh
yeah. Well, we'll have to
get the band back together.
Yeah, we need to try something. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again, CM Walsh, and we will see you guys later. Stay peachy. Good night, sweet peach. It's time to go. Good night.